All right, so welcome to the Corner Office Podcast. This is episode 7 or 8. I'm here with Jono Weins from Next Door Photos. These guys are the reason my listings sell. They make my houses look good, and it's been a few years that I've been working with you guys, and it's now that I started a podcast, I was like, I got to reach out to Jono to chat with you about the business. So welcome.
Yeah, thank you. It's really fun to be here.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Cool. You said you'd done one of these before, but it was through Zoom, right?
Yeah, so this is the real deal. This is
the real deal.
You got a pretty cool setup, and this is this is the first live podcast, so that's pretty exciting.
Nice. So tell me a little bit about what Next Door Photos is about, and why and how you got started with it.
Yeah, great question. So in a nutshell, like you kind of alluded to, we help real estate agents sell their listings by taking really great media of the home and processing that really quickly and getting it back to them in a way that's can be helpful. So basically, photos, video, 3D, drone work, floor plans, websites. Yeah. It's kind of all stuff that we do. And primarily work with real estate agents. Sometimes it's property management companies. Sometimes it's kind of commercial firms. But for the most part, real estate agents. Yeah.
Do you ever get the homeowner that calls you?
We do, on occasion, because I think we show up pretty good in Google searches. Okay. So that means that we have more random calls. Sometimes that's like an out of province marketing firm or something that has some weird project for us, and sometimes those work out and sometimes they don't, and sometimes it is the FSBO one-off kind of hey, I want you to come take pictures of my house. So.
I don't see that. I browse Facebook Marketplace and Kijiji a lot, so I don't know if all sellers know to get professional photos when they sell. There's still a lot of people that are just taking iPhone pics and saying here, buy this house.
Yeah, I mean, I think for the most part, you probably would know this better than I do. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think the person that has the mindset of I want to sell my house myself is probably the same person that says, "Oh, I don't need to pay for pictures. I can take pictures of my house myself."
You're
that's the same person.
Yeah, because exactly they're trying to save a little bit of money and whatnot, and they feel like the market's good, so I don't need any professional help.
Yeah,
so, that does happen. You're right.
Yeah.
So okay, so you get mostly realtors, and I find the one thing that's really good about you guys is the booking system.
Yeah,
because no offense to some other photographers out there, but it's just sometimes hard to get a hold of. When my clients are looking to say hey, let's do it Wednesday, and I can't get a hold of this person, that's frustrating, right? Because I can't confirm Wednesday on my schedule, their schedule, and it's just a mess.
Yeah, totally. So Next Door Photos looks a little bit like a franchise. Mm-hmm. So I think there's 75, 80 locations across North America, something like that.
It's crazy.
Most of them in the U.S. There's us. I just launched a Kingston location, and then there's also a Toronto location. And so it's just the 3 in Canada right now. But anyways, all that to say that we have a kind of bigger back-end team that helps us with a lot of our systems. And so, I manage our sort of boots on the ground team, the relationships, all that kind of thing. But things like the booking website, our editing team, our accounting, all that stuff. There's a really strong team that supports us with all of those things, that helps us with the really quick delivery time, with the really convenient booking system, and all that kind of thing. So it's a really kind of cool setup to be part of.
So you don't actually have to design your own website to a certain extent. Maybe you can customize a couple things, but because it's franchise based, that's the nice thing, honestly, right? When you come in and you start a business, having a franchise to back you up and a known product, a known brand, that's awesome.
Yeah, I imagine on some level it might even be the same as a real estate agent.
For sure,
you could start your own real estate brand, but partnering with Remax or Royal. You're with Royal LePage,
I'm
right?
with Royal LePage,
yeah. So having that name that speaks to credibility and all that kind of thing. and the systems that they have in place to support you.
For sure.
I imagine like some of that stuff is pretty similar.
Yeah, 100%. Like, if you have a brand that's trusted right away, like there's rapport there with your clients. And I know your clients are more people like me. So how I would find you would actually be if I saw a listing that I really liked and I asked the listing agent who shot these,
right?
They'd let me know. Or if sometimes you have if you're doing the websites, you got the nextdoorphotos.com/ whatever.
Yeah.
So that's how I would find you too. So
yeah,
you probably do a lot of marketing to agents, right?
Yeah, it's true. I mean, there's been a lot of times when I, as simple and like basic as it sounds, I'll go to the office website and it's like, okay, here's a list of 100 agents. Let's phone them.
Yeah, that's really good actually.
Yeah. And then, every so often, kind of like you mentioned, I'll go on, realtor.ca, and then sort of just look through and kind of like, that's listed by this agent. Those photos are really good, but I can tell that they're not ours. So I like scope it out and like, okay, I'm pretty sure this company, I've become pretty good. Not every time, but I can usually identify which company is producing.
I can tell too.
Yeah.
You guys have really blue skies. Yeah. Really blue skies. I like the clouds that you put in them. So full disclosure, the clouds are edited and the skies are edited and whatnot.
Totally.
And yours are very vibrant. I've seen like there's some that are more like they take like the it's like the virtual tour and then they just take the photos through that. So I think that's a little bit of a different product because the photos are not as clear in my opinion.
Yeah, exactly. So we use a high-end camera for the actual pictures, and then we have a separate high-end kind of specific camera for the 3D models, and they really serve two different purposes. Yeah. To use the kind of 360 sort of fisheye pictures for listings it's
grainy, I find sometimes.
Yeah.
For if you're doing it for photos.
And there's a higher level of distortion than is like commonly accepted.
Yeah. Now, how does that Matterport thing work? It's so interesting.
Yeah, good question. So Matterport sort of exploded with popularity. They were big before, but really exploded with popularity during the pandemic.
Really?
So Matterport is kind of like the global gold standard of 3D capture technology.
So it's all based in it's all virtual tour, like what you call it.
Yeah, basically. So virtual tour is a little bit of a confusing term because it means different things to different people, especially in our marketplace. Yeah. So I know one of our competitors identify, or maybe several even companies call a virtual tour just a slideshow of pictures.
Yes, I've seen that, like a website with the photos.
Exactly.
And then
we offer that product, but we don't call it a virtual tour. Yeah. That is a website with a slideshow. Yeah. And then some people say virtual tour, and they're actually thinking of a video. Just a video that you would see on YouTube, and we do that. We just call it a video.
You call it a video walkthrough.
Exactly.
Which I think that makes sense.
Exactly. And then some people say virtual tour, and they actually mean what we would call a 3D model. And that's what Matterport is. We also have a kind of lower cost option that's it's a little bit lower quality than Matterport, but it's like our own in-house 3D technology, and it operates really similar.
Same camera?
Same camera. So the photo quality should be the same from one to the other. The really only difference is the user experience. And so we call that our, the name is kind of long, NDP 3D.
I've seen that.
3D walkthrough or 3D virtual tour, something like that.
I've always been curious because, it is a little bit cheaper, but it's classified on your website as the same thing, same category of product. So I've always just got the Matterport because of the name. Yeah, it goes back to that.
Exactly. And so a lot of times it's the familiar user experience that people are looking for in that. And so our in-house one is it's similar. It's very similar to Matterport and how it operates. But a lot of what you're paying for when you get Matterport is the name brand. Yeah. And so, but admittedly, the Matterport probably is a little higher quality. So if you want that kind of, the most seamless user experience and all that kind of thing, then maybe Matterport is the right way to go.
So there's a few different ones. I've seen some that are like kind of glitchy.
Yeah, totally.
Super it's like hard to zoom in. It's hard to go backwards. So I really like the Matterport too. Yeah.
Matterport is it's a great product. It's been around for a long time.
Okay.
And like I said, it really exploded in popularity through COVID, just because in so many different marketplaces, it just became really difficult or impossible to do open houses or even showings. The number of homes that sold, I think the phrase is sight unseen, just went crazy.
Yeah.
So with that, the popularity of Matterport went through the roof. And honestly, I think, like some other things, I think that change or that, expectation in the marketplace, I think some of that is here to stay.
Yeah,
in terms
I think
of
so too.
What people expect on listings, and I'm currently looking for not super aggressively, but looking for another place. So as a buyer, especially, I have a marketing company, so maybe I'm a little biased, but when I look at a listing, I'm very judgmental of the photos, but also, like, even my wife is like, "Oh, what do you mean that listing doesn't have a floor plan?" Or like, it's just photos and they're not even really great photos. That's not good. So having a 3D model or a video, I think having something to enhance or offer beyond just photos goes a long ways with buyers.
Yeah, I agree. Like, I find that 5-6 years ago, if I was to list a place, like, not even having professional photos was like acceptable. Yeah. I would take the photos myself, and they would be like, clients would not be like, "Oh, why?" Yeah. And now it's like, whoa, it's like, you have to have the photos, you got to have video, drone shots, and it depends on the property. When you get a drone shot of a stacked condo in Barhaven, right, for example, but of a property with a nice lawn and whatnot, it's like expected almost. So it's part of my marketing plan and listing presentation too. When I say like, I've got a team that helps me with all the media stuff, and we'll do videos, and that's going to get a lot of attraction and whatnot. Yeah. But I find the videos actually help me a lot as much as the house, because I can post that on my social media, and it's like, it's like people watch me talk and
and really I mean, especially with the video, and I think that's true of the other products that we offer as well, because especially a few months ago when the market was just nuts, and you could take a picture of a toilet and you'd get 30 offers on a place. Our photos and the stuff that we provide, they do help sell the house and, get more eyeballs and more people through the door. That is true. But I think for agents like yourself, the real value to what we offer is winning the next listing. Yeah. And like, when you go to the listing presentation, exactly like you said, like, oh, I actually have a team that helps me do this. Well, then when it's you against the guy that takes the picture of a toilet, you're going to win hands down that 100%. Next listing. Yeah. Right.
And like, your team is professional. Like, I like to be there for the photos because I don't want to have anything missed. But your team is professional. The guys and girls that do the shoots, they're awesome. They're always friendly with my clients, which is a big thing, right? Yeah. Like, sometimes if you just kind of keep your head down and you're not very friendly, kind of throws the seller off, right? Because they were expecting a team. So it's nice to have some continuity as well. I have the same photographer that I see each listing, so I do appreciate that.
Oh, good. That's awesome. Yeah, I know. It's like, from the seller's perspective, it can be a fairly I don't know if invasive is the right word, but it's a very personal thing to have somebody come through your entire house.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if it is staged and everything, take pictures of almost like all your belongings and all of your, like, you've lived in this house for 5 years and now somebody's going to come and take pictures of everything and make a 3D model. And, it's going to be like, that's a fairly, again, I don't think invasive is the right word, but it's there's a vulnerability to that.
Yeah.
And I think that kind of having that personal touch and being friendly through that, I think that's so key.
I try to get my clients ready for these photo shoots as much as I can.
Yeah.
I send them your pre-shoot checklist most of the time. But I've seen, like, sometimes the sellers just are completely not ready.
Yeah.
And the photographer is there and they're like, yeah, let me clean this up and move. There's like boxes everywhere. Like, yeah, we're just literally, I'm like sweating balls, moving boxes out of the way. And then, okay, we're going to move it back because like we got to photograph this place now. It's like, it's crazy. Like, not everyone is prepared as they should be, but for the most part, I try to make your guys' life easy.
We appreciate that.
Yeah,
absolutely.
So I saw on your website you actually got moving on to something lighter. You moved from BC.
Yeah, that's right. So I was born and raised in Kamloops, BC.
Okay,
I was there for about 20 years.
I don't know why you would move here.
Yeah,
just kidding.
Me neither. And then I was actually in California for a couple years.
Oh, wow.
I spent 2 years in California. I was at ministry school there.
Okay.
And then some friends of mine from that school got hired as the directors of a summer camp and retreat center in Ontario here.
Like in Ottawa or?
About 2 hours outside of Ottawa.
Okay.
I don't know, Sherrod Lake?
Sherrod Lake, yeah. It's nice.
So it's
nice
about
area.
15, 20 minutes west of Sherrod Lake. Really small town called Arden. I was driving down Highway 7, and it's basically a yellow flashing light. That's all you see driving. Yeah. And so anyways, I was at that summer camp and retreat center with my friends for about just under 5 years before having the opportunity.
Was that so you were a counselor?
No, I was... Honestly, I was in the office mostly.
Oh, okay.
So, I mean, I started my first summer. I kind of went there as to run a little program kind of thing in the summer. And then that quickly emerged into, hey, there's a year-round spot in the office. And so that's honestly where some of my business management experience got to develop a little bit before starting my own business.
Yeah.
So that was a really... helpful and kind of there's lots of learning that happened in that time. And then out of that, I was kind of in my 5th year there, and it just felt like it was time to look for something different. It was time to. So I was such an amazing community there. I have nothing but awesome things to say about my time and experience at camp, and the people. Like, still, some of my best friends are people that I met in that time.
Have you gone back?
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice.
I mean, we go, I think my wife and I stayed there a couple days last summer kind of thing.
Okay.
And so keeping tabs sort of always on what's going on at the camp as well as keeping up with the friends that I met there for sure. So that was like super instrumental in kind of developing some of my business skills, and then felt like it was time to look for something different. And just as I was sort of keeping my head up and looking for opportunities, another friend of mine from church actually said, we went for coffee, and he was basically, in a nutshell, he was running Next Door Photos Ottawa at the time, and he sort of pitched it to me like, hey, I'm moving to a different role in this organization. I need somebody to take over the local ownership of this location. And so kind of long story short, he pitched it to me, and I was like, yeah, that's what I want to do.
Nice.
And so from there, it was sort of just jumping through the hoops, going through the process, and then
So you never had any like experience with like photography or media before?
Not a ton. Most of what I've learned on the job.
Okay.
I took I think I took a digital photography class in university, like 10, I don't know, a lot of years ago. Okay. And that was like one class, and that was the limit of my sort of knowledge.
So you weren't like super passionate about photos and especially real estate photography. It was just you kind of grew some business bones and you at this camp, and you decide, let's try start something new.
Yeah, I mean, even before my time at camp, I had an interest and an inclination towards business, and so I knew for a long time that I wanted to do something in business. I just didn't know what it was going to be. Yeah. For a while I was at camp, I was sort of like trying to brainstorm, like, hey, what could this look like? I thought I was going to start a juice truck.
Nice.
Jono's juice truck. And I could get behind selling fast, healthy food. That's kind of a cool thing. And
that's cool, man.
Yeah. So like maybe one day in years to come, you'll see Jono's juice truck. I don't know. But that also sounds like a ton of work and thought process. And like it was much easier to step into Nextdoor Photos because it's not really a franchise, but it looks a lot like a franchise. Yeah. And so there's so many back-end systems that are already in place that I don't have to think about. And so because it's just that much more plug and play, that was really attractive. And one of the other pieces that really drew me to Nextdoor Photos and that made my friends kind of pitch so appealing is that Nextdoor Photos, I mentioned that we have kind of a bigger team support with some of the different things, but one of the pieces to that is our editing team. That's we actually 3 editing teams: Nepal, Kenya, and the Philippines. And in all of those different places, we look to serve or look to employ those that have been taken advantage of, or those that have come out of extreme poverty, or those that have come out of some sort of really horrific background and offer them a better life. So oftentimes in that process, we're taking individuals that have had some sort of traumatic background, and we're kind of bringing they go through some sort of
training,
restoration, rehabilitation, that kind of thing. And then we're teaching them like, hey, this is how you turn on a computer, all the way to this is how you edit really beautiful real estate photos, or this is how you make floor plans, or something to that effect. So there's a really big social impact to our business, which I love. I want business to be more than just making a profit. I mean, I do want to make a profit. That's awesome. I don't want to leave that out. So while I was at camp, that was a non-for-profit, and so it was cool to be able to impact people's lives in that capacity. And there's a little bit of kind of business side as well there that I mentioned. But coming to Nextdoor Photos, it's been cool to run a for-profit business that has built into its business model this piece that's actually helping to transform lives. And so that was really attractive to me. There's not, I mean, I'm sure there's lots out there, but I don't know, there's not a ton of really plug and play businesses that offer that. And so we're actually a certified B Corporation. Okay. Which, especially in Canada, not a ton of people know what that means, but
I'm one of those people.
Okay. Yeah, no worries. So it basically means it's a third-party recognition that we put people before profits, and that there's a piece of your business that's significantly giving back to humanity. And so some other companies that are maybe more well-known than Nextdoor Photos that also have that certification are Patagonia, Tom's Shoes.
Yes.
This is kind of random, but we drink Silk milk, and I noticed that there's B Corporation.
Is that like a like vegan milk or something? Or
it's soy based.
Soy based.
I guess so. Yeah, my son's allergic to dairy, so
Those are 3 awesome companies. So if you're in the same category, that's great.
Yeah. It's so some of those pieces were really what drew me to Nextdoor Photos.
Okay. You tell me more about the people that you serve, like or that you hire. So they're actually employed by Nextdoor Photos.
Yeah, I mean, basically yes. I think there's some other like holding company or like slightly different name. So I'm not sure if employed by Nextdoor Photos. To be totally honest, I'm not sure if it's a different company name. But essentially yes. We pay them to edit our photos.
Okay.
And they work with us exclusively.
Okay.
And yeah.
Nice. Like, is there somebody that's there teaching them that's part of Nextdoor Photos?
Yeah. So there's a whole like standards team and
nice.
So like within that kind of team in those various different locations, there's the editors. And then there's also like a whole quality control team and everything like that. Yeah.
So are my photos always edited somewhere specific? Because I always see Sam. Sam's the name on the Dropbox folder.
Oh, okay, yeah. So
and his last name starts with a D or she.
Yeah. So Sam is So all your photos, all our photos in this location are edited in the Philippines.
Okay, nice.
And so typically our various, I don't know if I'm sharing too much information, I hope not, but typically each location, at least right now, has a specific editing partner that they work with.
Yeah, I think that's fine. That's not too much. Like,
Yeah, so all our photos are edited in the Philippines while our Denver location or something like that.
Sure, yeah.
They might be edited in Kenya.
Yeah. What I find fascinating is that the same-day delivery, because you have people... So if the photos are taken here in the morning, it's nighttime for them, right? So let's say we get shoots at 9 a.m. In the Philippines, it'd be like probably 9 p.m. So by the time they wake up, it's 9 p.m. here. And like it's for sure doable to get that 24-hour turnaround time. So... I think that's actually genius.
I think so, too. I think it's such a cool, sometimes I describe it as like a cool people fit because we're helping these underserved populations and a really good business fit just in terms of what you mentioned, in terms of like our team members, our photographers work through the day to take all these photos according to certain standards and then we upload them in the evening, which is conveniently like first thing in the morning for our team on the other side of the world, who then, works through their day to edit them. And then they upload those photos at the end of their work day, which is just in time for us to get a really great Nextdoor photos, next day turnaround time. Yeah.
How does the wait, actually, no, maybe we should stop for a little break for 2 seconds. Yeah. And we'll come back. How's that sound? Sounds
good.
All right, so we're back. Jono, I wanted to ask you because one super unique product that you offer, or at least from what my knowledge, is that the same day delivery is not something that many companies can offer.
Yeah, I mean, I think the unique piece is that we offer same day delivery for high quality edited photos.
Okay, yeah.
So there's definitely companies out there that offer same day delivery, but they're not edited pictures, or maybe there's like a really quick filter that they just throw on everything and there's not a ton of attention and care given to the editing process. That's easy to do in terms of same day delivery, but for us, that same day delivery process looks like, that editing team that we mentioned just a bit ago, there's a small team of people that work night shift. And that's essentially what that is. So there's a little bit of an extra cost for the same day delivery fee because, I guess, 2 pieces. Because one, our photographer, our team member, instead of going from that shoot that needs same day delivery, instead of going from that shoot to their next shoot, they need to go home and upload, or they need to go...
They actually have to go home?
I mean, it doesn't necessarily have to be home. They could go to a coffee shop, but they need to get internet, basically, and upload those photos so that our team that's working night shift gets access to those photos and can work through them and edit them.
Yeah. That's cool. Do you guys have like your own like cloud software as well, or do you guys mostly use Dropbox?
Just Dropbox.
Nice. No, I mean, great product. I'm just curious,
Yeah.
like, since you guys are such a big company, that I've thought maybe you had your own like uploading system, and you like.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's on the radar. I can't think of what they are right now, but I think there's certain limitations to Dropbox.
Yeah.
So I mean, as we grow, I expect
Maybe.
like some of that
Nice.
type of thing might be on the horizon.
Nice.
But for now, Dropbox has served its purpose well.
Yeah, I've looked into how to edit real estate photos. It's so cool. Like, I see the photographers, they're using 3 different exposures, and then they you guys stitch each part into you use 3 photos and stitch components of each photo into the final product. That's my understanding of it.
Yeah. So
So
there's
cool.
so our process is actually 2 photos.
Oh, 2 photos. Okay.
Yeah. And so what we do is called flambient, is
Okay.
kind of the
I'll look that up.
photography. I don't know if you'll see that in the dictionary or not, but so basically it's a combination of an ambient photo and a flash photo.
Okay.
So strictly flash photography doesn't look great, and it's fairly outdated process. But HDR, which I think is what you're referring to, the 3 different exposures where you can bracket really easily in your camera, that is also a little bit outdated and has certain limitations to it. And so we used to do that process a number of years ago. We've since upgraded our photography process to this flambient approach. I mean, I think we made that change just as I came on. So, several years back. So basically, we take one ambient photo and then one flash photo, and like you said, our editors do merge those together, and we're taking certain components from one and certain components from the other, and sort of comparing the colors, to make sure that the colors are accurate, to make sure, one of the things that if you strictly have a different photography approach, sometimes the windows are always blown out. And that's
how mine look, because I just take one photo.
Yeah, exactly. So so that flambient approach allows us to have really nice detail in the windows. And then the editing
and the foreground,
process.
like the inside is still nice. It's not underexposed. Because it's really cool. So would you say like the video is king now, because like you're doing you started doing reels, right?
Yeah, that's right. Would I say video is king
for like social media, like IG?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If that's the presence that you want to have, and granted that's where lots of people are looking, then you need to be doing video if you're on social.
Yeah, I found that too.
Yeah.
Like nobody's just a stagnant photo of like, hey, you want to buy this house, and it's just a photo. That doesn't do as well as if you had like a reel. Yeah. And you guys, so you just launched that, right?
Yeah, that's right. So we've been doing videos for a long time, but we recently just launched basically social media reels product, and so that's kind of just a alteration to that video.
Is it more based on for the house though, or can you do stuff like, let's say I wanted to go like top 3 tips for new home buyers? Like, would you do that stuff yet or no?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good question. I think there's room for us to kind of start looking at something like that.
Okay.
I know for the most part, we haven't done anything like that in particular. We do have a client that has a number of like business spotlights that she does with us, and those are all
so
like
you do
social
those.
styles.
Okay, nice.
I mean, it's not like a product. She reached out to us and she's like, "Hey, I want to start working with you guys, and but this is a thing that I'm looking for. Can you help with that?" And so hummed and hawed over that for a little bit and kind of thought through it. And so we do that for her. And, but that's those are kind of the only reels
Okay.
that we do outside of listings at this point.
Okay, but that may change.
That may change.
You'll see how things go, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, nice. Are there any like crazy stories that you've encountered from like one of your photographers or yourself photographing a place or doing any media?
I mean,
Could be good or bad.
yeah. That's a good one. I mean, the phone calls that I never like to get are the ones where the drone has crashed.
Oh, that's happened.
That's happened. I mean, there's never any property damage or anything epic like that. But like drone flew into tree or something to that effect or,
Wow.
So those, we've had a few of those phone calls over, or I have had a few of those phone. I've never crashed a drone, but it's happened.
Do you do any of the media?
On occasion, not.
So you know how to do it.
Yes. I know how to do everything that we offer.
There's a training process, I'm assuming.
Yeah, fairly thorough training process. So there's a bunch of online videos that we have our team go through, and then they actually capture their own home or their own space.
And that's their
that's sort of the first step in the training process. And then they're shadowing our active and more senior team members.
Oh, nice.
And then sort of the last stage in the training process is myself or our most senior guy will actually go with them in their first several shoots to answer questions and provide feedback in their first several live shoots. Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. No, I find like for these photographers, every day is different, which is so cool.
Yeah.
They're never shooting the same house. I mean, maybe, but it may be a few years before they shoot the same house again, right? So every day is different. The weather's different. Like it's wow. It's cool.
Yeah, it really is, and it's there's enough variety to it that I think it's really interesting.
Yeah, just like my job. Like every day is different. I never walk into the same house over and over again. It could be the same model, but there is different. So that's what I love about what I do is like every day is completely different. I never wake up and go like, ugh, I have to like work. Yeah, it's always it feels fresh and fun every single day.
Yeah, totally.
Do you get that?
Yeah, it is. I mean, from my role, I'm more like managing our team more than in and out of the different homes at this point. But even so, every day is a little bit unique, and I enjoy that.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm trying to think because I have those fun, crazy stories. But, I mean, some of them I've just, like, blocked out of my mind because they've been a little bit traumatic. But, I mean, some of them that are, like, less exciting are, or some of them that are, like, kind of require a little bit more thought or whatever at the time is, client has booked this big package or whatever.
Okay. It's
a long ways outside of town, and then buddy gets there and then sends me some cell phone pictures, and it is like the hoarder galore, and it's a disaster. And so buddies, and then like to top it all off, if I can't get a hold of the client, like
that's the agent.
Exactly, the agent. So the homeowner's there, but the agent isn't, and then and so it's a disaster. So yeah, that happened.
This is why I show up, because like if your seller is not ready and then the person's there, they're gonna take photos of junk, and that's not good. That's not gonna help me sell the house.
Yeah, and I mean I suppose on the rare occasion there's a kind of a unique situation where the homeowner is unable to, and I think that might have been this scenario that I'm thinking of that happened not too long ago. And basically we just had to capture it as it was. And like I never did look up the listing on realtor.ca, but there's, I imagine there's a lot of the pictures that just didn't get used that the agent would have as a reference if like, when people reach out.
Yeah.
But yeah, if the homeowner is, incapacitated in some capacity or, something to that effect.
I should hire you guys once and just like have this extreme hoarder house, be like, we're gonna do Matterport, we're gonna do a video walkthrough and drone shots, and it's just like you can't see anything. It's welcome to this whatever house, and it's just like you can't even move.
Yeah,
That's hilarious.
Oh my goodness!
So you've had that before, like a video walkthrough on like just a property that maybe shouldn't have been videoed right then and there.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. We've definitely done that on occasion, and like, I mean, I'm sure you can. Like as much as you do your best to prepare every listing, because it's in the homeowner's best interest, it's in your best interest. Yeah. It makes our job easier. So like really everybody is aligned in wanting the property to look as good as it can. I guess an exception would be if it's tenanted.
Yes.
Then their interest isn't always aligned with that. But generally speaking, everybody's interests are aligned in terms of making the place look as good as possible. But when somebody, health conditions or something like that, or it's like, hey, this place is a disaster and I need my home sold yesterday, then there's a ton of pressure on you to like keep things moving and sort of making the best that we can with what it is now. Yeah. And so there's a handful of those that happen as well. Yeah.
I've ran into really good tenants though, like that really want to help out. Like I'll do anything I can. Tell me what to do. That checklist they'll actually follow, and that's why I'm very appreciative for those people that make our lives easier.
Yeah. So yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. All right. Well, that's it for me. I don't know if you had anything to add, but
I don't think so.
Okay, cool. Well, it was a pleasure, Jono. Thanks for coming by.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's do this again sometime. Yeah, no, I can't wait for my next. I don't know when my next shoot is. I'm probably going to be booking one in the next few days because I got a listing coming up in Canada. So
okay, looking forward to it.
All right, thanks again.
Awesome.
Bye.